I knew that I had some work ahead of me, meaning work to continue to be that bridge.
Hi, I'm Judy Marie, owner of Miracles of Health. Thank you for watching, and please tap the like button and subscribe button because this helps us to spread really important information to a lot of people who otherwise would not hear it. And today with me again is just an awesome guest. Actually, we just love co-hosting this together. It's Dr. Lorri out of Pennsylvania. And hi, Dr. Lorri, and thank you for joining.
And my pleasure to be back.
Thank you. Just a little bit about your background. For our new listeners.
Okay. Yes. So my name is Dr. Lorri Lankowitz. I own two businesses in Butler, Pennsylvania. One is physical therapy and balance centers. I am a doctor of physical therapy. I also own Dr. Lorri Health and Fitness, soon to be Dr. Lorri Health and Regeneration, because I truly believe in the regenerative possibilities of mind, body, and spirit, and believe that the more that we share and teach and offer services and products in the regeneration world, we can really change the lives of many people so that they can be living their best lives. I do hold a doctorate, as I said, in physical therapy, also a master's degree in physical therapy, a bachelor's degree in athletic training, and I am also a personal and wellness coach and natural nutritional consultant. So I've been at all of this for 20 plus years. I've known Judy truly for the majority, 20-ish years, if not 20 plus now. And, it's easy for us to come together on this podcast and literally simply converse, to share some knowledge and wisdom that we have both gained over the years. And it's easy because we have done this off and on over the years on phone calls. Right, Judy?
Yes,
I mean, we just get on and it flows. And, I've been thinking about that because our first two podcasts have just gone so smoothly. And I know we've gotten some good feedback about that. And it did hit me just recently that we literally are doing what we do on the television. Or on the telephone. We're just now doing it here in this scenario.
And thank you for that too, because what I really like, and I believe a lot of people want to see authenticity, okay? That being very real about, being women, inspirational women in business, and also, it just continually transforms our own lives. This just doesn't end, but does it get better? Yes. Is there changes? And that's what we're going to talk about today, is some of the changes this is bringing about by being the bridge. Okay. And really, you picked this topic and I love it. We're going to share the concept, the idea of bridge, maybe in a little different angle that a lot of people might think about with it. But Dr. Lorri, you have been the bridge. You have been a very solid bridge for people for many years. And that started with you years ago, wouldn't you say?
Yes. We all come into life with a set of possibilities, I think is a good word to use. Where we may be strong. We'll talk about prodigies. We'll just use prodigies at this moment. Children who are very young, who are great at certain things. And some of those people could be great at speaking. They could be great at writing, a particular sport, music, dance, all kinds of creative endeavors. And so those present as possibilities. And then it is up to that human soul to take that talent and move forward. And I did not think about being a prodigy, if you will, throughout my life. And honestly, I think maybe just right at this moment, I feel that maybe that is what happened with me. And one of those gifts that I was given, that possibility, was to help to grow connections between people. And so that's where this concept of be the bridge has come from. And I've written about it a few times over years. And more recently, maybe about a month ago, I decided to revamp that blog. I've written about being the bridge in previous blogs. And this time I thought I want to share my thoughts around this and also give some strategies, and we'll talk about that later. So, but as a child, in many situations, very young, I mean, prior to 10 years old, in my teens, in my 20s, and still today, I have been presented with many opportunities where I could fuel the fire between two people or some circumstance where people were divisive. They just were on different ends of the scale. And I thought, my goodness, I don't want to be that way personally. And how can I help these people to start building that bridge? So they're on two separate lands, and there is just this big hollow in between. And as long as the division in what they're thinking remains, then they can't get through that hollow. Imagine that hollow is so deep and there's alligators and goodness knows what else is down there, a really rapidly flowing river, whatever it may be. And so you think, boy, I might want to take that step, but if I step down in there, I'm going to get hurt. So I just have been able to all my life help people to start building that bridge, and maybe stopping and thinking, wow, that was an interesting point that I never thought about. So now that I'm thinking about that, boom, the first part of the bridge is built, right? And then little by little, and I'm not saying this is going to be like this, where you have a relationship or whatever it may be that has been divisive for a very long time. It can be instantaneous. Maybe a light bulb goes off for one of those people, and then all the walls and everything else come tumbling down, and that bridge is immediately built. Or, probably more likely it'll take some time, but the more conversation, the more understanding, then that gap, I'll call that a knowledge gap. So we'll call that hollow that I just talked about a knowledge gap. People start to understand each other and learn, so they're gaining knowledge, which is building the bridge. And the ultimate hope is that they do come to the middle, and they've built this bridge. And guess what? When they build it, now other people can walk it. I mean, how cool is that, right? So when we do this and we create affinity, we then create more energy that allows more affinity. And we just have to be, strong, courageous, and also know there are skills. There are skills that go with that. So if we know all of those, and we can start to bridge that knowledge gap, we can really change people's lives, and hopefully the lives of everything around us.
So it's also building our wings of faith and hope, of taking that first step across a journey that seem so fearful to so many people. I know throughout the years, people who've studied about dreams, they dream about a bridge and driving off, or they dream about jumping off or falling off a bridge. That's a real common dream, which is connected into fear. Okay. Yeah. It's, and evidently, I guess if you wake up and you hit the bottom, they say you won't even live, but I don't know anyone who's done that except they woke up, and it's a fear of something in their life. And being able to take that, like you're talking about, that first step, or somebody's hand in a spiritual way, it might be physical, it might be symbolic, but holding, like you were saying, confidence, being able to hold courage, being able to hold that place of understanding, that the strength of, I want something more than what I'm experiencing. I want to feel better than where I'm at right now. and being able to have a whole different vision of what's even across on the other side of the bridge. We don't even know how miraculous that can be unless we're willing to go ahead and take those steps. And I know you've walked many, many people across their bridge, and it's not that, I mean, we can hold that space for somebody else, but people are very capable of creating that journey and walk, but need the assistance like you're talking about.
Yeah, that's also profound. And I appreciate that because that just raises my vibration and my thoughts around this. And so very early in my life, my sister Darlene passed. And I think we've talked about this on the podcast, but Darlene was hit by a vehicle when she was 15 years old and was immediately in a coma and passed two days later. So prior to her passing, within a few months, she wrote an autobiography as a project for school. And I think striking to share is 3 different times in the autobiography, she mentioned she was not ready to die. And this is a 15-year-old girl, 15-year-old child who is stating this. So whether she had a premonition or not, I'm not really sure, or multiple, but if it was a premonition, it ended up coming true. She was very much an old soul and, came into this earth really with a lot of wisdom and so much heart and spirit. It was quite amazing. So in that autobiography, Darlene wrote this about me. My sister Lorri, who is 11, always reminds me of concern and love. She feels that we should be working on new beginnings instead of reaching endings. Once I read that and read that statement about me at 11 years old, I knew that I had some work ahead of me, meaning work to continue to be that bridge that my sister just said. My sister Lorri works on reaching new beginnings. And so I took that in very deeply, especially since she passed. I think it meant even more. And then the other thing later in my life, when I was starting my business, I had met a friend, and one day she was an artist. And one day she said to me, Lorri, I have your logo. And I said, you have my logo? And she said, yes, I created a logo for you. And I did not ask her to create the logo. So that's why I was so surprised. And she initially gave me the first drawing and said, the logo depicts you as being half human and half spirit, and you always have your heart at the core. And I actually I'm going to pull this. This is a replica of that in gold. So the top part is spirit, the bottom are hands, and the heart is in the middle. And, in that case, obviously the heart is acting as the bridge. And so my very, very spirit side is connected to my humanness, through the center of my body, and that is my heart. And so I bring that up, and going back to your last statement, Judy, where you said that I have helped a lot of people take that first step and going across the bridge. And I go all the way back to saying about being a prodigy or coming into this life with certain capabilities and certain possibilities. And so, again, very young, I learned how to help people, how to help myself, and then help others, which then led me to becoming a personal coach. And I was already doing it prior to the coaching. And then once I became a coach and learned those skills that go with being a coach, that has helped me have more knowledge, and then has helped many, many people to cross whatever bridge it is or build whatever bridge it is that they need to build.
I love that symbolism and the idea with the necklace, because we all have a bridge inside of us, right? The heart being connecting, to the higher self, to any other part of us, our past, our future, but most importantly, in being present in that with the bridge now. And also comes to mind in crossing over a bridge or taking that journey. The symbolism is beautiful. There's no certain speed anybody needs to take. You know, they can walk gently, they can walk slowly, they might want to speed walk. We all have our own pace, okay? And we all have our own style of and timing of how to do it, when to do it. And as we talked a little bit previously, since I'm also from Butler, Pennsylvania, there's a bridge I would love to go to as a child. I'd visit there, even as an adult visiting back in that area, and it's called McConnell's Mill. There's an ancient old bridge and a red wooden covering over it, rickety old bridge. You can only do, one car at a time. A lot of those bridges were that way. But that feeling, and maybe some of you listening, you want to find a bridge, walk across the bridge. What does it feel like, And in the symbolism, even in our own life, what that can be like, because we know that feeling of being stuck. We know that feeling of doing it alone. And what you're talking about is connecting and taking these steps, these journeys, and we're not alone. We have support. We have that doing it together. And that makes a world of difference when people know there isn't judgment, there isn't limitations, there isn't criticism about this, or it's got to be a certain way. No, it's the individual way, but it's at least taking the action and doing it, and not know what that is on the other side, but it can only be really good.
Yeah. That's really cool. When we were talking earlier and you shared about McConnell's Mill, this insight came to me of being on a walk in a forest, which really is where McConnell Mill sits in, and, coming to that rope bridge, those, like you talk about rickety bridges, no cars are going over this thing. And there's also, like, that's part of adventures for people, right? They're swinging from ropes, and then part of that adventure is we're going to walk across this bridge. But I think everyone can picture that, the rope with just some slats, and it kind of moves and, has a little bit of a divot to it. And we walk up to that and think, my goodness, you talk about fear, Judy. I mean, that's pure fear. If I take that step and walk on that ropey bridge that really doesn't have any support under it, it's floating. And because I want to get to the other side, what is on the other side that helps to break that fear? I mean, there has to be something larger than us, right? There has to be something on that other side that is so compelling that it is big enough and fills us with enough courage and enough love and enough wisdom, maybe, to actually take that first step to get across that floating bridge. And then one of the things you said before we're on the call is you take that first step and second, and before you know it, you're in the middle and you're thinking, wait, maybe this isn't as bad as I thought. And this is kind of fun up here. So the courage really is rising more and more. And then we get to the other side and holy goodness, I can do that. I can do that. And I think, fear tends to be in us because of things we learned through our childhood. or early years, are when we're being reared, if you will. And that can come from family, society, things we're learning in school. There are many things that we learn and we think, well, I'm not going to be able to go do that because I was told I can't or I shouldn't, or I'm not going to try this because girls don't do that or boys don't do that, or anything like that. I mean, we've all heard those voices. I call them gremlin voices, and I use that in my coaching. And so that gremlin, once you realize it is there as a gremlin, and if you have somebody that can help you again bridge the gap and learning how to get rid of that gremlin, then you start to reach out a little bit further. You start to cross more bridges, or you meet people who are on the other side, and people that you maybe didn't understand before, that you didn't agree with, whatever that may be. And yet something is said across that divide that all of a sudden people start taking those steps closer together. And then something else is said, and that bridge is made, that knowledge gap is filled in. And the possibilities with that are endless because we're trying something new. We have new energy that has been infused.
Yeah, this is I love it. I love this topic. I'll share with you what happened with me a couple days ago. Okay.
Please do.
Because I think also this can lead to a very strong spiritual experience with many people. Okay. As they open up, no matter what their faith is, their belief is, in the spirit, things can happen on such a level that when you have that experience, it's life-changing. And about 48 hours ago, that happened to me. And I want to preface that we may be crossing many bridges in our lifetime. Okay. There's not just one. There is just so many for different purposes and different reasons too. So a few days ago, I got to a place where I was done. That feeling, I am done, doing things in a certain way. And it would just be an ongoing struggle. And I hit the last brick wall on this. And I knew when I left the office that night, going home, and for me, I will get on my knees, when I am inside, exasperated, exhausted, done with whatever it is. That's my moment of surrendering. Okay. Letting go to the infinite intelligence of the universe or what I didn't want. No way. I had no energy left to contain this. Done. And then it was no expectation of what will come after, except it was this release. And about an hour later, this clarity, this vision of what opened up, and this euphoric feeling that went through me, and this peace and this oneness with the universe. And I want to say it can be supernatural, but maybe natural, magical, of being done with a certain thing. And before I knew it, I was on the other side of this bridge. Oh my goodness. Now that was like a quantum leap, and to be able to see what very differently, like things just opened up. I knew what I was going to change in the company. I started having these plans. I couldn't wait to get up the next morning and start working on this new path now. And that's what, as we cross our different bridges of life there, oh my goodness, I don't know if you saw that movie, What Dreams May Come, where there was this beautiful field of, you could paint and imagine anything it can be. That's what it was like. It just so opened up. So that the spirit filled me in every part of my being and essence. essence, that type of energy. I'm sure you've had some of those moments too, Dr. Lorri. And then, here we go, at our phase of life. Now I'm on to a whole new gig. It's that's what we are, as these gifts of creating and what we're connected to. So it's, oh my goodness, it's dropping that. We get so used to carrying life and a load in a way. That's what we've done for so long, until, oh my goodness,
I know.
at will, we release.
I know. And I have definitely been praying for the load to be lifted. And, because of all of the work over the last 20 plus years, and it has been work, there's been a lot of joy in it. There's been a lot of pleasure, mostly seeing so many people come to some point of transformation. And so in physical therapy, somebody comes in, they're really hurting. They don't have range of motion in a certain joint. Their muscle is torn. I mean, they've had surgery, whatever it may be. And to be the person to walk with that client through that, from where they're barely walking, they're using an assistive device, to they're back to their daily activity. That could be walking, running, working, whatever it may be. That's very powerful. And, having the knowledge to do that, having the physical ability, having the mental ability to coach people through that. Again, you talk about building a bridge. Somebody comes out of surgery and they're in so much pain and they're not functioning, and they want to get to that other side, which happens to be their full life. And, being able to help through that is amazing. In that, it also takes a large toll on the therapist, on the body, on the mind, all of it. And thankfully, the good of that comes through. Seeing people get to the other side is what feeds you. It feeds a therapist. It feeds many other people who help people to continue to go on. And then you hit a point, and I felt this for a very long time, where I know that I have this knowledge and wisdom. Some of it I came into this earth with, as we've talked about earlier, and then it's just continued to grow. So for both of us, being in business for over 20 years and being in life for over 50 plus years, that to know that you hold that knowledge and wisdom is very powerful. And to know that you hold those two things and still be humble is probably the most powerful thing that can happen to a human being. And I believe that for you and I, that has happened. We both hold a lot of humility, and in that have been told that, people are grateful for that, because it opens us up more. It makes us more approachable. Again, it creates the bridge, right? So in my business, physical therapy in the United States is very much medical. This is what you do, boom, boom, boom. And physicians are involved and medications are involved and so on and so forth. Well, again, at 20, my goodness, now it's 25 or so years ago, I, as a physical therapist, not as a business owner yet, I started learning about nutritional supplements. We are not taught that in PT school. Very little today. I did do some teaching at Slippery Rock with more alternative medicine, if you will, and physical therapy. However, I bring that up because once I started learning about nutritional supplements, that opened up a world. There was this massive bridge, very strong bridge that has been created, not initially, but has been created over the years, that has brought us into this integrative medicine world. The front of the building has physical therapy on one side, Dr. Lorri Health on the other, and we have a tube that's in the middle. There's a peak in the building, and on that it says integrative medicine. That is a bridge, and people know that they can come here, and most people enter because of physical therapy. And now, after 20 years, people know that they can come here for physical therapy, and they know that we have other opportunities for them to heal. And so there's a very medical side, there's a very integrative or alternative, I guess I should use, that has been integrated. And so way back to having knowledge and wisdom, that has again helped many, many people to cross whatever bridge that is. And I use physical therapy, but I have coached many, many, many people to make some change in their lives, whether that was diet and nutrition, exercise, or relationship oriented, or them looking to go to the next step in their career or their life. So that actually brought me to the point of creating a program called Get Yourself Out of Your Way. And so that program is really all based about creating bridges in your own life, to heal relationships, to make changes, whatever it else is that you desire, that you're looking to do.
Oh gosh, this is terrific. As we're kind of winding this down a little bit, I want to say, be willing to change. I could see this big sign, right? Your first step on the bridge. Are you willing? Are you ready? Are you capable to make the changes? That's what I could see that you're saying. And I want to thank you for sharing also Miracles of Health products in your business. I mean, we've done a lot together that way, and that people can be well supported with different things in your facility that you offer and that you're helping people with. And I just, I really thank you for being such a light to so many, and being the change, and being willing to be the change, meaning we go through our own purification all the time. We stay a student of our teachings. And you shared with me before the call a card you pulled. And so when we do these sessions, you pull cards, and I love this. Would you like to read that?
I would. And I'll read this, and then just the back on the knowledge gap a little bit, and a couple things that maybe that help to create that gap that we can start to fill in, and create the bridge. But this card is from Wayne Dyer, who we've talked about before on our podcasts. And Wayne was pure light and the spirit of a very wisdom-filled teacher. And Wayne is now on the other side, and something tells me that when we get on these calls, he's floating around here, because he always has these pretty cool messages. So the title is Be a Source of Inspiration, and be on the lookout for opportunities to be a source of inspiration just by being an example. By demonstrating your own connection to spirit, you inspire others, and you'll feel inspiration flowing through you. And I know you feel this, Judy, and please share after I speak. But there is no doubt that being on here and talking through this right now, and also being an inspiration over the last multiple years of my life, I am inspired more and more after any of these occur. So at the end of this podcast, I am uplifted, and I'm ready to move on and do the next, or write something else, or go talk with clients or whatever it may be. It's just very, very uplifting. And it's uplifting because of the possibilities that exist within this, the possibilities of speaking something which becomes new knowledge for somebody else. It's wisdom filled. It's also based in science, whatever it may be. There is always a possibility to share that information with someone that maybe somebody doesn't have. And then their light bulb goes on, and it can be as simple as that, just a very easy, gentle conversation that opens up something in someone else. And then they go to where you're talking about, that first step on the bridge, saying, am I capable? Am I fearful? Or do I have the courage, or whatever it may be? And again, being the inspiration, being a source of inspiration is just, I think, one of the most fantastic gifts anybody can feel and give. And I'm so glad that you've presented this opportunity to me to be able to do this with you.
Thank you. And I feel like this is a way we're paying it forward. Okay.
Yes.
We've had a lot of mentors, we've had a lot of teachers and support throughout the years, and we're here for the masses as well. And if this is one of the simple ways of paying it forward, and life on this planet is short. Okay.
Mhm.
It's not forever long. Our spirits are forever. Life in our spirit is forever. But what kind of legacy, what kind of mark do I want to leave for today? Let's just take those steps for today. And how can people reach you, Dr. Lorri? And the best way to do that, and I just want to share that you have an amazing coaching program. How could people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so probably two easy things would be to go to my website, drlorrihealth.com, and on that you will find lots of different ways to reach me. Phone number, you can actually add in a message right on that website, and it will reach me. You can also email me directly at drlorrihealth@outlook.com, and please know Dr. Lorri, or Lorri, is Lorri. So it's DRLORRI health. That would be all one word for the website. And then also for the email, drlorrihealth@outlook.com. And on the website, you'll also see different opportunities that I've presented in talks that I can give, or subjects. Some of the blogs are on there. I haven't been great at uploading them all there, but on Facebook, there's a Dr. Lorri Health page. Balance for Wellness Academy page are all mine. And, back with the coaching program, the Get Yourself Out of Your Way program, I created that again, maybe 15, 20 years ago. And in that, really the basis of that is realizing that within your own life, if there's a major change you want to make occur, or if you're in a relationship of any kind and there's some type of rift, and you want to change that. There's 5 things that are very striking, and these are the things that cause a knowledge gap. And I'll end this with this in the coaching program, but typically there's some lack of knowledge. So I may know something that you don't, Judy, or vice versa. And, we're looking at one or the other saying, I don't understand and I don't agree, because we don't have that knowledge. There's just poor communication between people. The knowledge isn't there, and so they don't know how to communicate, to bring that communication forward. Listening skills, big one, where if we're in level 1 listening, we are really not listening. We're thinking about what we want to say. Level 2 is more of that volley back and forth, and level 3 is more of an intuitive type of listening, where you can hear what someone else is saying and know what's behind it. So you can tell if they're really fully telling you, if there's some other emotion back there. Just being too busy, we just don't take the time to communicate or to move forward, whatever it may be. Or something called siloism, where we just keep this inside and we don't want to come out. And so that knowledge gap is created by those 5 things, and there are others, but the knowledge gap then leads to division, meaning there is not a bridge. So if we want to be the bridge, we have to get ourselves out of our way. And we learn that by doing something called a wheel of life to know where we are currently. We figure out the name of that gremlin I brought up, the one that says, I can't do that. I was never taught that, whatever it may be. There's no way that person is this. They don't know what they're talking about. We need to figure out how to get rid of that gremlin, especially when it pops up. And then boundaries, tolerations, expectations all lead to our desires. Where do we want to go? So that is also on the website. Again, drlorrihealth.com. And, please just today, think of one thing that you can do for yourself and maybe for others that will start to make that bridge come together, or build one, whatever it may be, and be that inspiration. Because really, we do have the power in all of this to lead and to create very beautiful and positive energy for a world that needs it desperately.
Wow, that's a great way to tie this up, and to know that all things are possible. If you can imagine it, you can create it, you could bring it into the physical. And wow, just to think, Dr. Lorri, we're just getting warmed up, This is so darn cool, and that this can be so contagious, as negative things can be contagious, though the positive of what we can create and utilize our gift. Everyone has unlimited potential and gifts. So thank you so much for joining together today. What we're doing, what we're creating here, and let's continue to keep being the bridge.
Amen. I'm with you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right.